Next up in our next section, we are talking about conversions. So, this is a great segue from engineering notation, where we were using engineering notation to convert between giga, mega, pico, micro, the very big and the very small. Now we're going to start looking at some of the more moderately sized conversions. So, metric conversions are the more simple of the two. They're a lot nicer than the US conversions because we were only talking about powers of 10. In addition to what we had shown in engineering notation, we have kilo, hecta, deca, our base unit, deci. So we have deca and deci. Notice that deca is DA, deci is simply a D. Centi and milli. So some of these you may recognize. I know kilometers, kilograms, centimeters, millimeters. These are all pretty familiar concepts. Let's look at some of these problems. For each of the four choices, choose the most reasonable measure. The length of a car. What would the length of the car be? 5 kilometers? Highly doubtful. 5 kilometers is what you would run. I mean, they have Thanksgiving challenges that are 5 kilometers long. I can't imagine a car would be that long. 5 meters? It's a possibility. 5 centimeters? Probably not. If you look at 5 centimeters on a ruler, that's pretty small. 5 millimeters is even smaller. So our most reasonable choice is going to be 5 meters. Distance to the next town. 3.8 kilometers? It's possible. 3.8 meters? I mean, technically it's possible if you're really close to the town border, but is it probable? Is it really reasonable? 3.8 centimeters, 3.8 millimeters. Again, these are possible if you know exactly where the town boundary is, but it's more common and more likely that we would say that it is 3.8 kilometers away. An adult woman's height, 160 kilometers, 160 meters, 160 centimeters, 160 millimeters. 160 kilometers, that's further than anybody would run on a Turkey Day trot. So, no, a woman could not be that tall. 160 meters? Well, if we look at the top, a meter is a bit longer than a yard. So, could you imagine a woman being 160 yards long? Not so much. 160 centimeters? That seems a lot more reasonable. 160 millimeters? Probably not, because that would only be 16 centimeters. So let's go with 160 centimeters. The mass of an apple. Let's look at our table up here again. When we're talking about grams, a gram is about the mass of a paperclip. Would it be 100 kilograms, 100 grams, or 100 milligrams? About how much do you think 100 paperclips weigh? Do you think a box of 100 paperclips would weigh about as much as an apple? I'd say that that's probably our best guess. The amount of active ingredients in a pain relief pill. 500 grams, that's 5 boxes of paper clips. I couldn't swallow 5 boxes of paper clips, so I highly doubt that's the case. Kilograms is even bigger, so our only real reasonable measure here is 500 milligrams. The capacity in a gas tank. 500 liters or 50 liters or 50 milliliters. Let's take a look at our table again. A liter is a bit larger than a quart. 1 quart is about 4 cups. So I'd say 50 liters is pretty reasonable. 50 milliliters would be way too small. Now let's look at doing some actual conversions. We have a lot of conversions here to do, so let's get started. we are looking to convert 3.7 meters to centimeters. 3.7 meters to centimeters. So we are in our base unit of meters. Centimeters would be 1/100th the size of a meter. So we are actually going to divide our meter by 10 to the negative 2. 3.7 divided by 10 to the negative 2. So we have to get rid of our negative exponent. This is going to be the same thing as 3.7 times 10 squared. We're going to move our decimal point 2 places to get this in decimal notation, and we will have 370 centimeters. So why did we divide 3.7 by 10 to the negative 2? Let's look at this more simply. We have 3.7 meters. We're going to multiply it by, so we are going to want our meters to cancel out. Right now, meters are on top. We have a 1 on the bottom. In order to cancel something out, we would have to put the meters on the bottom. So for 1 meter, we have 100 centimeters. And that also gives us 370 centimeters. How can we convert 3.7 meters into millimeters? So we have 3.7. We want our meters on the bottom because they need to cancel out. We want our millimeters on top because that's what we want our final result to be. So how many millimeters are in 1 meter? Let's look. 1 millimeter is 1/1000th of a meter. So there are 1,000 millimeters in a meter. So that is going to give us 3,700 millimeters. Let's convert 2.45 kilometers to meters. So 2.45 how many kilometers are in a meter? Or how many meters are in a kilometer, I should say. So our base unit is going to be our meters. A kilometer is 1,000 of them. So we're going to multiply. We're going to have kilometers on the bottom. There are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. So that is going to give us, we'll move our decimal place 3 times, to 2,450 meters. Now let's convert kilometers to centimeters. 2.45 kilometers. Now it doesn't really, it's not intuitive for me how many centimeters are in a kilometer. So I'm going to start by converting it to meters again. And then I'm going to figure out how many centimeters are in a meter. So I'm going to put meters on the bottom and centimeters on top. there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So we're going to take 2.45, multiply it by 1,000, and then multiply it again by 100. We're going to add 5 zeros, so moving our decimal place 5 times. 1, 2, and then we'll add 3 zeros to the end. Let's now convert 0.813 grams to centigrams. How many grams are in a centigram? Centi means 100. So there are 100 centigrams in a gram. So we'll start with 0.813 grams times, we want our grams to cancel out. There are 100 centigrams in 1 gram. So we are going to multiply this guy by 100 and we get 81.3 centigrams. Oh, grams, not meters. How about if we convert it to milligrams? 0.813 grams times there are 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram. So that's going to give us 813 milligrams. Let's now convert 1.25 kilograms to grams. If you get comfortable enough with these that you can simply move the decimal point, feel free, but I'm going to continue using what's called dimensional analysis. That's what we're doing when we use all of these fractions. So we have kilograms. We're going to convert it. We want kilograms on the bottom. How many grams are in a kilogram? There are 1,000. So we're going to multiply this by 1,000 and we will get 1,250 grams. Converting it to milligrams. Again, it doesn't occur to me how many milligrams are in a kilogram, so I'm just going to convert to grams first and then I'll convert to milligrams. I know there are 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. And I know there are 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram. So that's going to give us, we're going to have to add 6 zeros to this thing. That'll give us 1,250,000 milligrams. Let's convert 2.8 liters to milliliters. How many milliliters are in a liter? There are 1,000. So we're going to equal 1,000 times 2.8 would be 2,800 milliliters. How about deciliters? Now, let's get a reminder. What's deci? What's deca? Deca is a larger unit. Deci is the smaller unit. So we want liters and we want deciliters. So how many deciliters are in 1 liter? There are 10. So that'll give us 28 deciliters. Now we want to convert 15 decaliters to liters. 15 decaliters times, we have liters, we have decaliters. There are 10 liters in a decaliter. That's going to give us 150 liters. 0.75 deciliters to milliliters. How many deciliters are in a milliliter? Let's look at our table again. Deci and milli, they're 2 apart. There is a difference between 100. So there are 100 milliliters in a deciliter. So that'll give us 75 milliliters. All right, hang with me, just one more to go before you start working on your own. The engine displacement of a Yamaha Majesty scooter is 125 cubic centimeters. And the engine displacement of a Chevrolet Spark is 1.4 liters. What is the approximate ratio between these engine displacements? So let's take a look. How can we convert cubic centimeters to liters? Is that even up here? It is not. So there are going to be some of these, even in your homework assignments, where you are going to have to figure this out using Google. So let's do that. Grab a window. Cubic centimeters per liter. 1 liter is 1,000 cubic centimeters. So which one do we want to convert? Do we want to convert liters to cubic centimeters or cubic centimeters to liters? It is completely up to you. I think I'm going to convert liters to cubic centimeters, just because I'm not dealing with decimals as much. So I'm going to convert it. Our cubic centimeter is going to be 1,000. So 1,000. 1.4 liters times 1,000 cubic centimeters. Pardon my crazy computer doing its crazy thing again. Per 1 liter. It's going to give us 1,400 cubic centimeters. So in order to find the ratio, we just divide. So let's take our calculator, take the larger number, divide it by the smaller number, and it's about 11 times larger. So thanks for sticking with me through this long video, and I wish you the best of luck in problem 15.